the company is going to be a lot more valuable in the future. So why not, buy this back now? What's going on, everyone? My name's Obi and welcome back to Courtside Financial. If you're new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button because NIO is very well documented on this channel. And also make sure you hit that like button because it really does go a long way in helping out the channel. Also, if you want to be a part of the conversation before it happens here on YouTube, make sure you click the link in the description to join the completely free Discord. New promo going on now from February 2nd to March 31st. When you open up your new brokerage account, you'll receive one free stock valued anywhere from $2.50 to $250. And when you make that initial deposit of $100 or more, you'll receive another free stock, and this free stock will be valued anywhere from $8 to $1,600. Lastly, cryptocurrency is now available on WeBull, so you can trade cryptocurrency on the platform with zero commission. Today we're going to be talking about NIO. It's currently 6:12 p.m. Eastern Time here in Michigan, and NIO stock is currently trading at $57.55. It is down 0.66% for the day and down 0.09% in the after hours. So we have a few things to talk about for NIO here today. Number one, they're developing a plan for the US markets. Number two, they're buying back stake from NIO China. And number three, they're developing an EV industrial park. Today there was a job posting that popped up on LinkedIn for NIO, and the job posting's title was Business Plan US Market. And the job posting responsibilities read, work with American companies and teams to develop American business strategies, combine the NIO model and in-depth market insights to promote the innovation and implementation of the business models, formulate an action plan to enter the U.S. market, and pull through the cluster resources in the headquarters based on key deliverables. Coordinate cross-departmental resources and deliver them on time according to the project management approach. So my view on NIO and the U.S. market, I've talked about this a few times on this channel way back in the day, but basically NIO already had plans to enter the US market and start selling their cars in 2020. Those plans were halted because of cash flow, and on top of that, the government cutting subsidies for electric vehicles. And they want to take time to really understand the new markets that they're entering and understand what their products mean to certain customers before they enter those markets. It's no surprise why NIO spends so much money on R&D. But if I'm giving a timeline for my prediction, when's NIO going to come here, when's NIO going to be in the US market, I'm going to say 2023 because William Lee said that NIO will first begin to do a broader expansion into markets that are really friendly to electric vehicles, and then moving on to in the future, they'll do more of a full expansion globally, which is looking like 2023, 2024. That timeline could be accelerated. Business things are fluid, things change, but I'm going to say 2023, they could be in the US. So I think battery swap could have some viability in the US, not as a long-term solution because as I mentioned plenty of times, battery prices are going down over time, range is increasing, charging times are also decreasing. So eventually there's probably not going to be a need to, swap your battery anymore. So over the long term, eventually where you see gas stations everywhere, there won't be too many gas stations around anymore. There's going to be, electric charging stations for people to go charge their cars, and it'll happen a lot faster than it happens today. But I see some viability in battery swapping in the US for cities like New York, where a lot of people live in apartments. All apartments don't have electric vehicle charging infrastructure. So for a lot of people who are in these situations where it's not really practical for them to charge, and battery swapping might make sense. And also in the short term, for if you're going on a long trip, say across the country per se, and you just want to have your battery swapped out very quickly so you can take advantage of the range that comes with that and go on about your day, then it might make sense, but they're doing a lot of R&D. They're going to see what could work for this market and what probably won't work for this market, and it doesn't mean that everything has to carry over. That's why they're very strategic and taking their time and very intentional with it. Battery swapping will make it to Europe. As I mentioned in the last video about the LinkedIn job posting, They are actually hiring battery swapping technicians for Norway. So NIO's probably going to have locations in Norway, very friendly market to electric vehicles. I've talked about that, and they're probably going to have locations in Denmark because they've had LinkedIn postings for Denmark as well. But I think the most important thing for the company and them bringing their products to this market is the emphasis on the separation of the vehicle and battery. People being able to lease their battery and people being able to upgrade their batteries. I think there's a lot of consumers in this market that that would really bode well with. Next is NIO buying back stake from NIO China. Talked about this also before a few times, a bunch of times actually on this channel. NIO China was basically a shell company created where NIO put a lot of their Chinese-based assets into in order to raise capital at a time when the company was about to go bankrupt. They raised money from the Hefei government, Hefei strategic investors, and it's worked out very well for both parties so far. So NIO has actually done multiple buybacks, but we're going to talk about what their position will be after this current buyback so everybody's up to speed and up to date. So NIO will buy 3.305% of NIO China for 5.5 billion RMB back from the Hefei strategic investors, and this will put NIO at around 90.36% ownership in the shell company NIO China. So my thoughts on this is, hey, it makes sense why NIO was raising capital so aggressively. You know, back in back in December, NIO did an offering where they raised around $3 billion by selling shares. And then they turned around again in January and they sold convertible notes in which they raised $1.3 billion. So a lot of people are like, why is NIO double dipping on the capital raise? Well, convertible notes were actually a relatively cheap way to raise capital, but we know that NIO has a strong balance sheet. They can definitely afford this purchase. So 5.5 billion RMB, that translates to around 850 million US dollars. So that's about a third of the capital that they've raised if we're just talking about the recent capital offering. NIO China, as I mentioned, the company was about to go bankrupt. Using that entity in their capital structure seemed to be a necessity. And like I said, everything played out good for both parties. But at the end of the day, NIO is buying back stake. So they're betting on themselves. So it's a bullish sign because the company believes that probably the company is going to be a lot more valuable in the future. So why not, you know, buy this back now and then let the value of the business appreciate over time. So they want more ownership in their company, which is to me a good sign. Last topic of the day, NIO announced that they would be building a world-class smart electric vehicle park with the help of the Hefei government. NIO made the Hefei government a lot of money. Like I mentioned, their stake will be reduced to around 10%, but it gets better because the government's actually reinvesting money back into NIO to help them out. This industrial park will have NIO at the core, but it will also support the EV sector in general. It will provide comprehensive assistance across all sectors. And I see this as something that's very bullish. I'll get to that in a second, but this is what I really like about NIO. They do an amazing job at leveraging their strategic partnerships so that they don't exhaust their own capital. We think about previous ventures that they went into with the Hefei government, like the partnership with Hefei Charge to build like the battery swapping stations. So NIO isn't actually putting up all the capital for those battery swapping stations. A lot of people are saying like the battery swap is going to be way too costly here on YouTube, but you have to understand that NIO isn't building all of those on their own. They are building a fair amount, of course, but I also have separate thoughts on that I can probably talk about in another video. On top of that, NIO partnered up with State Grid to build some battery swapping stations and charging stations. So I could go on and on. There's a long list of partners that NIO has, but they really do leverage their strategic partnerships so that they don't have to do everything on their own and put so much of a burden on themselves. And that's exactly what's happening here with the Hefei government and this smart electric vehicle park. More ownership in the business, they got built out, and they're still getting a lot of government support. This support could help with manufacturing, R&D, marketing, whatever the case may be. So if you ask me, William Li has played his cards very well. That's going to be it for this video. I want to know what you guys think about NIO. I want to know what you guys think about all this news and everything that happened today. It seems like we got a lot of good news today. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below. I'll link the free Discord in the description. And as always, thanks for watching. I'll catch you guys in the next one.